Do you know why some homes never seem to keep money? Why people work hard, stay up late, do everything they can, and still the money slips away like water through open hands? Today I want to share something most people never hear. You will not learn this in school. No normal money coach will tell you this. It comes from old Jewish wisdom passed down through generations, and it centers on one specific day of the week when you should never clean your home. If you clean on that day, you may be sweeping your blessing out the door before it has time to settle. Stay with me, because this is deeper than it sounds. By the end you will know which day matters, why it matters, what the old teachings say, and what you should do instead if you want peace, stability, and a stronger flow of money in your life. And please do not leave early, because the key idea that connects everything comes later, and if you miss that part, you will only get half of the message. I have seen people change their financial pattern in a matter of weeks after adjusting this one habit. I have also seen people ignore it and keep asking why money comes in, but never stays. What I am sharing is not about luck. It is not about fantasy. It is about patterns, actions, rhythm, and the kind of order inside a home that shapes what grows there and what quietly disappears before anyone notices. When I was much younger, I was struggling more than I wanted anyone to know. I had spent years studying faith, tradition, prayer, and sacred teachings, but I still did not understand why money would not stay with me. I worked hard. I tried to be responsible. I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Still, every month ended the same way. Effort in, stress in, almost nothing left. One evening after Shabbat, I sat in an older relative's study while the candles were almost gone and the room had become very quiet. He looked at me and said something I never forgot. He said, "Wealth is not only about what comes in, it is also about what you know how to protect. And that protection does not begin in a bank. It begins with what you do inside your home on certain days." He told me the ancient teachers understood something modern life has almost erased. There are times when the energy of blessing enters a home more strongly, and if you sweep, scrub, haul things out, or clear things away during that window, you may be removing the very thing you have been praying to receive. I thought it sounded old-fashioned, maybe even superstitious. I was young enough to think logic alone explained everything. Then he challenged me. He said, "Try it for 1 month. Just 1 month. Do not clean on that day. Watch what changes." So I did. Within weeks, an old payment I had forgotten about finally arrived. A neighbor opened a door to an opportunity I never expected. My expenses eased, and for the first time I felt that maybe money was not only about labor, maybe it was also about alignment. The old teachings say every home carries an atmosphere. You can call it spiritual tone, household energy, or simply the feeling that lives in the walls. Some homes feel heavy, some feel calm, some seem to support growth, while others somehow drain the people living inside them. In Jewish tradition, there is a belief that the home has a kind of fortune or flow connected to the actions inside it. That flow changes. It is not fixed. It shifts with time, with intention, with peace or conflict, and even with the day on which certain actions are done. Most people think cleaning is just cleaning, a broom is a broom, trash is trash, mopping is just mopping. But in the mystical view, physical actions also move unseen things. When you sweep a floor, you are not only moving dust, you are also moving atmosphere. You are changing the tone of the space. And if you do that at the wrong time, the teaching says you may be pushing away the very blessing trying to enter your life. Think about that for a moment. Not because you are careless, not because you are lazy, but because you are doing a useful action at the wrong time. That is where many people miss it. The problem is often not effort. It is timing. It is rhythm. It is not that they are doing nothing. It is that they are always doing, even during the one window that is meant for receiving. And what comes next matters, because once you understand that point, the whole message begins to make sense in a way it never did before. Many people are told the same modern formula again and again. Work harder, save more, invest better, push longer, sleep less, stay hungry. And yes, discipline matters, smart choices matter, planning matters. But those things alone do not explain why some people build and keep while others earn and leak. Old wisdom says, if your home is energetically open in the wrong way, money can pass through your life without ever settling. Saving into that kind of atmosphere is like pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can keep pouring, but the level does not rise. Working harder in that state can feel like running on a treadmill. constant movement, no lasting progress. The deeper claim is that the physical world is not the first place where things begin. It is the last place where they show up. First there is intention, then order, then spiritual alignment, then, only after that, material result. That idea may sound unusual to some people, but it explains why two people can make the same amount of money and still live in totally different realities. One household holds, another leaks. One home feels settled, another feels restless. The ancient teachers built practical habits around this truth, not just theories, habits anyone could follow. And among those habits, one of the strongest is connected to Shabbat, the period from Friday evening to Saturday evening. This is the part one need you to hear clearly. If you remember nothing else, remember this. According to this teaching, that is the time when you should not clean your home, because that is the time when the home is meant to receive, not empty itself. The day in question is Friday evening through Saturday evening, the time known as Shabbat. Some people immediately think, that is only for Jews, that does not concern me. But the message in this teaching is broader. The claim is that sacred rhythm is built into life itself. Just as day turns to night, and seasons change whether we notice or not, there are also cycles of effort and cycles of rest. Shabbat is described as a time when divine presence, peace and blessing settle into the home, not as poetry alone, but as a real spiritual condition. In that view, when you sweep, mop, take out the trash, do heavy organizing, or keep pushing the house into activity during that window, you may be telling life itself that you are not ready to receive. You are clearing out the space at the exact moment it is being filled. That is why this practice is so different from modern productivity culture. It does not say do more to get more. It says prepare well, then stop. It says make room, then trust. It says the pause is not weakness. The pause is part of the process. And that is hard for many people. Rest can feel uncomfortable when you are used to anxiety. Stillness can feel dangerous when you have trained yourself to believe survival depends on constant motion. But sometimes the leak is not in your paycheck. Sometimes the leak is in the restless energy of the home. Keep watching this idea closely, because once you see it, you start to notice how often fear disguises itself as productivity, and how often people keep pushing simply because they do not know how to receive. So what should you do instead? The teaching is very clear. Prepare before Shabbat begins. That means the heavy cleaning happens before sunset on Friday, not during the sacred window itself. Sweep before, mop before, do the laundry before, clear clutter before, wash what needs washing before, take out the garbage before. The goal is simple. When Shabbat begins, your home should already feel ready. Not perfect, not staged like a magazine, just prepared on purpose. A ready home becomes a vessel. It says, this space is open to peace. This space is open to blessing. This space is ready to hold what comes in. In many homes, 2 candles are lit shortly before sunset. Their light marks a change. Work time ends. Sacred time begins. The atmosphere shifts. Even people who are not used to ritual can feel it. The room becomes softer. The pace changes. The mind slows down. Bread is often placed on the table as a sign of provision, trust, and enoughness. The message is powerful. We are not chasing today, we are receiving today. That inner switch matters, because people often bring panic into their homes without realizing it. They move fast, clean fast, eat fast, worry fast, sleep badly, wake tense, and call that normal. Then they wonder why money never feels peaceful in their life. But the home learns from the rhythm you teach it. The body learns from it too. So when you prepare the space before sunset, you are not just getting chores done. You are drawing a line between stress and stillness, between hustling and receiving, between endless motion and sacred order. There are a few simple parts to this practice, and none of them need to be complicated. First, begin your cleaning earlier on Friday, ideally a few hours before sunset, so the home is settled before Shabbat starts. Do not rush through it with resentment. Treat it as preparation, not punishment. Second, remove the trash before sunset. In this tradition, trash is more than mess. It stands for what is stagnant, heavy, or left sitting too long. You do not want that energy lingering during a time meant for blessing. Third, light 2 candles close to sunset, if that feels right for you. Let that moment mean something. Pause, breathe. Notice the room. Fourth, Place bread on the table if you want to follow the symbolism of provision and trust. It does not have to be fancy. The point is intention, not performance. Fifth, speak out loud. Say that peace is welcome here. Say that abundance is welcome here. Say that this home is protected, calm, and open to good things. Spoken words shape atmosphere more than people realize. And then comes the part many find hardest. Once Shabbat begins, stop cleaning. No sweeping, no mopping, no hauling out bags, no heavy organizing, no restless fixing of things that can wait. Sit, eat, reflect, read, be with people you love, rest without guilt. If the urge to jump up and clean hits you, notice it. That urge is often not wisdom. It is anxiety wearing work clothes. Let it pass. This is where the practice becomes real, because trust is easy to talk about and much harder to live. Something important begins to happen when a person keeps this rhythm consistently. At first, the results may be internal. The mind becomes quieter. The usual pressure around money eases a little. The nervous buzz in the background softens. That matters more than many people think, because a calm mind notices opportunities a frantic mind misses. Then the outer shifts often begin. A delayed payment arrives. A useful conversation opens a door. Spending becomes less impulsive. Waste goes down. Small leaks close. Life feels less scattered. This is why the teaching says not to obsess over instant proof. Plant the seed, protect the space, and let the pattern build. People often sabotage themselves by checking every result too soon, as if blessing must perform on command. That mindset comes from fear, not trust. The practice asks for consistency instead, not one dramatic weekend, not one symbolic try, a pattern, a weekly return, a repeated act of preparing, pausing and receiving. Over time the home begins to feel different. Money may still require effort, but it no longer feels like it disappears into a storm. There is more steadiness, more clarity, more sense that what comes in has a place to land. And to be honest, this is where many people fail. Not because the steps are hard, but because modern life trains people to worship constant motion. If there are crumbs, they want to sweep them now. If there is clutter, they want to attack it now. If there is silence, they want to fill it now. But sometimes the stronger act is not movement. Sometimes the stronger act is restraint. Stay with that. It may be the lesson your finances have been trying to teach you all along. There are also warnings that come with this. Do not do the practice halfway and then say it failed. If you decide to try it, honor it fully for a real stretch of time. One careless sweep on Saturday morning, because the floor bothered you, may seem small. But in this teaching, that kind of act matters because it breaks the container you were trying to build. The point is not perfection. The point is commitment. Another warning is about intention. Do not come to this like a trick to get rich fast. Old wisdom says chasing wealth with greed often pushes it farther away. The better approach is gratitude, trust, and a desire for stability, generosity, and peace. Money held in the wrong spirit rarely brings rest. Also, be careful who you explain this to if you decide to practice it. Not everyone respects sacred things. Some people mock what they do not understand, and constant mockery weakens your focus even if it does not change the principle itself. Protect the atmosphere you are trying to create. This is not about arguing online. It is about quietly changing the rhythm inside your own home. And here is the deeper truth beneath all of it. People often block receiving because they are addicted to doing. Doing feels safer. Doing feels measurable. Doing gives the illusion of control. But when life offers a window for receiving, many people cannot even stay still long enough to let it in. They clean, sort, scrub, plan, fix, adjust, and wonder why nothing settles. Sometimes because they never stop clearing space long enough for blessing to rest there. There is an old mystical idea that abundance is always flowing, always moving, always available, but not everyone is in a condition to receive it. The flow does not stop. What changes is the openness of the vessel. If a person is always in push mode, always in strain, always in productivity panic, then even good things can pass by unnoticed or unheld. Shabbat, in this understanding, becomes the weekly doorway through which receiving becomes possible again. It is not just a break from work, it is a correction of rhythm. It teaches the body that survival does not depend on non-stop motion. It teaches the mind that peace is not laziness. It teaches the home that blessing needs stillness as much as effort. I know this because there were seasons in my own life when I drifted from these practices. I told myself I was too busy, too important, too behind. There was always one more project, one more problem, one more reason not to pause. The damage was not loud at first. It was subtle. Things grew harder. Income felt less stable. Good opportunities slipped away at the last second. Relationships carried more tension. It felt like a slow leak, easy to ignore until the loss became obvious. When I returned to the rhythm fully, the repair was not instant, but it was real. Within weeks, life began to steady. That is why I speak strongly about this now. Not because I want to sound dramatic, but because I know what happens when people mistake endless action for wisdom and forget that receiving is also a discipline. And look at the world people are living in now. Costs rise. Families feel pressure. Housing feels heavy. Food feels expensive. People work full days and still carry quiet fear about the future. In times like that, ancient practices become more valuable, not less. They anchor the mind. They restore rhythm. They remind a person that chaos outside does not have to become chaos inside the home. That may be one reason these teachings survived across generations. They were not built only for easy times. They were built for uncertain times, for seasons when people needed a pattern stronger than panic. So here is the core of what you need to remember. Do not clean your home during Shabbat, from Friday evening to Saturday evening, if you want to honor this teaching. Prepare the home before it begins. Let the space be ready. Light candles if you choose. Place bread on the table if you wish. Speak peace over your home. Then rest. Really rest. No sweeping. No mopping. No garbage runs. No heavy organizing. Let the home breathe. Let your nervous system breathe. Let blessing have a place to land. If you practice this with sincerity, patience, and consistency, you may start to notice that money feels less frantic in your life. Not because effort stops mattering, but because effort is no longer fighting against the atmosphere of the home. And if this message hits something in you, do not ignore that feeling. Start this Friday. Try it with respect. Give it time. Watch carefully, because sometimes the change begins the moment you stop sweeping away what was finally trying to stay.